Maharaj ki jai. Nitil Vishnu Vishnupada Ashitara Shitashmar Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitil Vishnu Vishnupada Ashitara Shitashmar Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitil Vishnu Vishnupada Ashitara Shitashmar Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nitil Vishnu Mahabhagavat Srila Vaksharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nitil Vishnu Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Nitil Vishnu Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupa Nugariya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patidas Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Nama Chai Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट पदार्थ गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंज श्याम कुंज की जय। श्री मुनि देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथ समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथ राज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रीताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Just sharing my screen. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo mahavadanyaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna chaitanya namne gauratishe namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yam Pravrajantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virahakatara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Bhinedu Stang Sarva Bhuta Hridaya Munimanatosmi. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Shrinvatang Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ridantasto Yabhadrani Vidhunoti Suritsatam. Nashta Prayeshvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya vina iti vigyaya radhe tvam nayamam charanantikam. Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshay Kshiptashtakama ditarangamadhe Kripa maitam sharanam prapanna Vrinde namaste charanaravindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dandavat pranams Indira Mataji. So, Yesterday we read about time also has small and big divisions like matter. So time and space are related. Time and matter are related. And then we read about the divisions of time, and then Vidur's inquiry about those who are beyond one kalpa. So first we read about like how all this, we read about time like in a really small, short amounts of time all the way till 1 year, like till human time in this. And now, then Vidur inquired about the yugas, the long periods of time, and the duration of manus, the destruction, and we read up to the destruction at the end of a kalpa, what happens in the universal destruction. And now we're going to read about Brahma's lifespan and insignificance of Brahma's lifespan in the universe. All right. Evam vidarahoratrai kalagatyopalakshitai apakshitam ivasyapi paramayurvayashatam. Thus, the process of exhaustion of the duration of life exists for every one of the living beings, including Lord Brahma. One's life endures only for 100 years in terms of the times in the different planets. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Every living being lives for 100 years in terms of the times in different planets for different entities. These 100 years of life are not equal in every case. The longest duration of 100 years belongs to Brahma, but although the life of Brahma is very long, it expires in the course of time. Brahma is also afraid of his death, and thus he performs devotional service to the Lord just to release himself from the clutches of illusory energy. Animals, of course, have no sense of responsibility, but even humans who have developed a sense of responsibility Dang it, I need to have a book open next to me because it seems like there's parts missing. Sorry, just give me a second here. There. Okay. Animals, of course, have no sense of responsibility, but even humans who have developed a sense of responsibility while away their valuable time without engaging in devotional service to the Lord. Anyhow, guess there wasn't a mistake there. They live merrily, unafraid of impending death. This is the madness of human society. The madman has no responsibility in life. Similarly, a human being who does not develop a sense of responsibility before he dies is no better than the madman who tries to enjoy material life very happily without concern for the future. It is necessary that every human being be responsible in preparing himself for the next life, even if he has a duration of life like that of Brahma, the greatest of all living creatures within the universe. Yadardam ayushastasya parartram abhidiyate purva pararthopakranto hyaparodya pravartate. The 100 years of Brahma's life are divided into two parts, the first half and the second half. The first half is already over, and the second half is now current. The duration of 100 years in the life of Brahma has already been discussed in many places in this work, and it is described in Bhagavad Gita 8:17 also. 50 years of the life of Brahma are already over, and 50 years are yet to be completed. Then, for Brahma also, death is inevitable. One second, I just really quickly need to... Purvasyada parardasya brahmanama manabhut kalpayatra bhavar brahma shabda brahmetiyam vidu. In the beginning of the first half of Brahma's life, there was a millennium called Brahmakalpa, wherein Lord Brahma appeared. The birth of the Vedas was simultaneous with Brahma's birth. Purport. According to Padma Puran, Prabhaskanda, in 30 days of Brahma, many kalpas take place, such as the Varaha Kalpa and the Pitri Kalpa. 30 days make 1 month of Brahma, beginning from the full moon to the disappearance of the moon. 12 such months complete 1 year, and 50 years complete one prarartha, are 1/2 of the duration of the life of Brahma. The Shveta Varaha appearance of the Lord is the first birthday of Brahma. The birth date of Brahma is in the month of March, according to Hindu astronomical calculation. This statement is reproduced from the explanation of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Tasyaiva chanti kalpo bhur yam parmam abhichakshate yadharer navisarasa asya loka saroruham. 1 second, just checking everything's okay on here. Yes, looks like it. The millennium which followed the first Brahma millennium is known as the Padma Kalpa, because in that millennium, the universal lotus flower grew out of the navel reservoir of water of the personality of Godhead Hari. Purport. The millennium following the Brahma Kalpa is known as the Padma Kalpa, because the universal lotus grows in that millennium. The Padma Kalpa is also called the Pitri Kalpa in certain Puranas. Ayam tu katita kalpa dvitiyasyapi bharata varaha iti vikyato yatra shichukaro hari. O descendant of Bharata, the first millennium in the second half of the life of Brahma is also known as the Varaha millennium, because the personality of Godhead appeared in that millennium as the hog incarnation. Purport. The different millenniums known as the Brahma, Padma, and Varaha Kalpas appear a little puzzling for the layman. There are some scholars who think these kalpas to be one and the same. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, the Brahma Kalpa in the beginning of the first half appears to be the Padma Kalpa. We can, however, simply abide by the text and understand that the present millennium is the second half of the duration of the life of Brahma. Kalo yam dviparardhakyo nimesha upacharyate avyakritasya nantasya yanader jagaratmana. The duration of the 2 parts of Brahma's life, as above mentioned, is calculated to be equal to 1 nimesha, less than a second, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Oh my God, who is unchanging and unlimited, and is the cause of all causes of the universe. Whoa. Purport. The great sage Maitreya has given a considerable description of the time of different dimensions, beginning from the atom up to the duration of the life of Brahma. Now he attempts to give some idea of the time of the unlimited personality of Godhead. He just gives a hint of his unlimited time by the standard of the life of Brahma. The entire duration of the life of Brahma is calculated to be less than a second of the Lord's time, and it is explained in the Brahma Samhita 548 as follows. Yasaikaniva sitakala natavalambya jivanti lama vilaja jagarandanata Vishnur mahansa iha yasya kala vishesho Govinda Ari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, whose plenary portion is Mahavishnu. All the heads of the innumerable universes, the Brahmas, live only by taking shelter of the time occupied by one of his breaths. The impersonalists do not believe in the form of the Lord, and thus they would hardly believe in the Lord sleeping. Their idea is obtained by a poor fund of knowledge. They calculate everything in terms of man's capacity. They think that the existence of the Supreme is just the opposite of the active human existence, because the human being has senses. Because the human being has senses, the Supreme must be without sense perception. Because the human being has a form, the Supreme must be formless. And because the human being sleeps, the Supreme must not sleep. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, however, does not agree with such impersonalists. It is clearly stated herein that the Supreme Lord rests in Yoga Nidra, as previously discussed. And because he sleeps, naturally he must breathe. And the Brahma Samhita confirms that within his breathing period, innumerable Brahmas take birth and die. There is complete agreement between Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and the Brahma Samhita. Eternal time is never lost along with the life of Brahma. It continues, but it has no ability to control the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the Lord is the controller of time. In the spiritual world, there is undoubtedly time, but it has no control over activities. Time is unlimited, and the spiritual world is also unlimited, since everything there exists on the absolute plane. Kala yang paramanvadir dviparardanta ishvara naiveshitum parapurphumna ishvaro dhamamaninam. Eternal time is certainly the controller of different dimensions, from that of the atom up to the superdivisions of the duration of Brahma's life. But nevertheless, it is controlled by the Supreme. Time can control only those who are body conscious, even up to the Satyaloka or the higher planets of the universe. Vikarai sahito yuktar visheshadi avrita andakosho bahirayam panchas shat koti vistrita. This phenomenal material world is expanded to its diameter of 4 billion miles, as a combination of 8 material elements transformed into 16 further categories, within and without, as follows. Purport. As explained before, the entire material world is a display of 16 diversities and 8 material elements. The analytical studies of the material world are the subject matter of Sankhya philosophy. The first 16 diversities are the 11 senses and 5 sense objects, and the 8 elements are the gross and subtle matter, namely earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, and ego. All these combined together are distributed throughout the entire universe, which extends diametrically to 4 billion miles. Besides this universe of our experience, there are innumerable other universes. Some of them are bigger than the present one, and all of them are clustered together under similar material elements as described below. Dashottaradhikaryatra pravrishta paramanuvat lakshatentar kataschanye kotisho hyandarashaya. The layers or elements covering the universe are each 10 times thicker than the one before, and all the universes clustered together appear like atoms in a huge combination. Purport. The coverings of the universes are also constituted of the elements of earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and each is 10 times thicker than the one before. The first covering of the universe is earth, and it is 10 times thicker than the universe itself. Whoa. If the universe is 4 billion miles in size, then the size of the earthly covering of the universe is 4 billion times 10. The covering of water is 10 times greater than the earthly covering. The covering of fire is 10 times greater than the watery covering. The covering of air is 10 times greater than that of the fire. And the covering of ether is 10 times greater still than that of air, and so on. The universe within the coverings of matter appears to be like an atom in comparison to the universe within the coverings of matter appears to be like an atom in comparison to the coverings. And the number of universes is unknown, even to those who can estimate the coverings of the universes. Whoa. Tarahuraksharam Brahma Sarvakaranakaranam Vishnurdhama Param Shakshat Purushasya Mahatmanam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is therefore said to be the original cause of all causes. The spiritual abode of Vishnu is eternal without a doubt, and it is also the abode of Mahavishnu, the origin of all manifestations. Purport. Lord Mahavishnu, who is resting in Yoga Nidra on the causal ocean and creating innumerable universes by his breathing process, only temporarily appears in the Mahat Tattva for the temporary manifestation of the material worlds. He is a plenary portion of Lord Sri Krishna, and thus, although he is non-different from Lord Krishna, his formal appearance in the material world as an incarnation is temporary. The original form of the personality of Godhead is actually the Swarup, or real form, and he eternally resides in the Vaikuntha world, Vishnu Loka. The word Mahatmana is used here to indicate Mahavishnu, and his real manifestation is Lord Krishna, who is called Parama, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. The Supreme Lord is Krishna, the original personality of Godhead known as Govinda. His form is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, and he is the original cause of all causes. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 3rd canto, 11th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Calculation of Time from the Atom. So, I'm going to just cut the reading short today because I have to attend to some things right now, and but maybe tomorrow we can just do a quick little recap also of what we read these previous 2 days, so we can really get all the different kinds of time, and then we'll start on chapter 12, which is the creation of the Kumaras and others. So now Brahma is starting to create. He creates the 4 Kumaras, and then Rudra, the different progenitors. Yeah. Anyways, we'll read all about that tomorrow. All right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Garam Gandhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Nitai Krishna Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmad Shri Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Gurudev Ki Jai. Nitai Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmad Shri Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitai Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmad Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitil Vishnu Maha-Bhagavat Srila Gokshara Swabhaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Vishnu Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nitil Vishnu Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannatha Swabhaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Padirash Raghunath Shar Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Rishi Gopal Shad Vrinda ki jai. Namachai Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाय। सर्व अभिष्ट बरात गिरिराज महाराज की जाय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय। श्री मुन देवी गंग देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय। श्री पूर्णवासी योगमाया की जाय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जाय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। वृंदाय तुलसीदेवाय प्रियाय केशवाय च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रददेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Dandavat pranams. So yeah, sorry about the quick reading today, but tomorrow there must be charts on how all of the division of on the division of time. I'm gonna look that up. I looked up yesterday for videos and I couldn't find anything, but there's probably some kind of chart or something that will make it really clear. All right, Haribol. See you tomorrow.